Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video will be another interesting research. That's how I look at it, because the longer I wouldn't say investigating, because I'm not an investigator, but someone who is doing the research. So the longer I am researching, the longer I am looking into some connections, the more I'm coming to this conclusion. I actually came to this already, is just confirming it, that there is this undeniable link that connects Putin, Zelensky, Trump, and many other leaders around the world, as well as many leaders throughout the history that are no longer with us. Very much often, thank God, they are no longer with us. So today I would like to show you, and I hope you will appreciate this content, I will connect some dots with this, I will say satanic, because it is satanic. Let's just call it as it is. You remember the tunnels in New York City that were found under the headquarters of that Chabad Lubavitch building, and what they were doing there. We're actually going to end the video with that story, because there is someone who is explaining what was found in those tunnels. Once again, if you missed that event, the same Chabad Lubavitch is very, very present, as we know, in the United States, as we know in Ukraine, and now lately, as I came to know, which I didn't know before, in Russia. So we're going to look into this, but we will start with me saying thank you before we go to Putin and the designated for Russia rabbi that received an award from Putin. Before I show you that, I want to say thank you for you supporting my work. And those of you who have recently donated on PayPal, that is Michelle, Herman, and Daniel, I am very, very grateful. Those topics that I am bringing to you are not easy also energetically for me. I find it quite, I would say, disturbing and also draining energetically. And it's something that I am not enjoying really, but when I'm coming across those things, I want to share it with you. And you know, often, most of the time, pretty much all the time, this platform does not want people to talk about those things in this context. So videos are demonetized, and that's why your support is very much appreciated. So with this being said, let's first go to this news. This news is about 10 days old, but it was not really that published, or maybe it was, it's just kind of skipped my attention, and it shouldn't, because we are still on the same topic. So first let's look at this article, and then I'm going to take you to the video. I'm going to take you to the ceremony. So 1 second, everyone. I have so many videos prepared, so many articles prepared for you. So this is the first one. Okay, let's start with Putin. Well, I will not comment, because I think I'm not sure how many Putins are out there. This is not original Putin, we know it, but Putin, okay? Putin awards Russia's chief rabbi, Israel Rabbi Lazar, with Order of Honor. So here is the article. Quickly, we're going to read this. Moscow, Russian President Vladimir Putin awarded Chief Rabbi Rabbi Lazar the Order of Honor on November 4th. So this was like 11 days ago, during ceremonies marking Russian Unity Day, a national holiday celebrating the country's religious and cultural diversity, also known as People's Unity Day. The holiday has been observed for 33 years. That's a number. And he awarded this guy on this day, 33 years. How interesting. I know I'm such a tin-foil hat person. To highlight the common bonds among Russia's many faiths while respecting each community's traditions, culture, and cuisine. Before we go to the video, you know why this 33 number is important? Because in the Freemasonry, this is important number. That's why, okay? So, by the way, this person that you see right here, this is Rabbi Schneerson. who was the leader of Chabad Lubavitch, and it's all connected, okay? So this guy here, this Rabbi Lazar, I forgot the first name, Berel Lazar. By the way, he changed his name as well, slightly, but he did. He's coming from this Chabad Lubavitch. So this is his kind of like Messiah, who's no longer alive. Now let's go to the video. We go to the video. I have translation for you here. I'm going to read this first because this is originally in Russian. So let me just show you the video first, and let me read you what the rabbi will say, because the subtitles are very small and I'm going to translate first and then you're going to watch it in original version. Dear Vladimir Vladimirovich, first of all, thank you very much for the honor and for your attention. I understand that this award is for the entire Jewish community, for all rabbis. But exactly 25 years ago, this is in case of his experience, okay? 25 years ago, you opened the first Jewish community center. Since then, the Jewish community in Russia has developed like nowhere else in the world. Many thanks to you. The friendship between us, religious leaders, is also unique to Russia. And I am proud that I live in this country and serve God here. I have to comment. I just wonder what kind of God he means. Yes, I said it exactly. What kind of God he means. And I understand that everything that has been done is not enough. We need to do more, but let the whole world see how we are friends, how we work together, how we help each other. This is pride of each of us. I think, one second, this is, I think, the pride of each of us. And for this, we are very grateful. Thank you. So let's play it. And then I give you a few comments about this moment, in my opinion. And then we're going to analyze this rabbi. How did he show up in Russia? When did that happen? And who he was surrounding himself with. So let me play this video now.
Уважаемый Владимир Владимирович, прежде всего, огромное спасибо за честь, за внимание. Я понимаю, что эта награда – это всей еврейской общины, всем раввинам, но ровно 25 лет тому назад вы открыли первый еврейский общинный центр. С того момента еврейская община в России развивается как нигде на свете. Это много благодаря вам. Дружба между нами, религиозными лидерами – это также уникальность России. И я горжусь тем, что я живу в этой стране, служу Богу именно здесь. И я понимаю, что все, что было сделано, это мало, нужно делать еще больше. Но весь мир пусть посмотрит, как мы дружим, как мы работаем вместе, как мы помогаем друг другу. Это есть, я думаю, гордостью каждого из нас. И за это мы очень благодарны вам. Спасибо.
So before I close it, I want to give you a few words from me. Order of honor. Order of honor. Okay. There was a video that I was showing to you a while back, and in that video was Rabbi Schneerson, the one who was this Messiah, main leader of Chabad Lubavitch. And he had an interaction with Benjamin Netanyahu, much younger Benjamin Netanyahu, many years ago. And he was talking to him, to Netanyahu, and he said that not enough has been done because it was about Messiah's return. Messiah will return, as this Chabad Lubavitch believes, when the third temple is going to be built, when Europe is destroyed. I've talked about it many times before. This is the Chabad Lubavitch. This is the man who represents that Chabad Lubavitch, but for the region of Russia, okay? This is the same movement. This is the same Chabad Lubavitch that Ivanka Trump, and well, she's Trump, right? But she's married to Jared Kushner. This is the same Chabad Lubavitch that Jared Kushner is part of. This is exactly the same. So this man who represents that Chabad Lubavitch, I will repeat this again because a lot of people don't see it, how obvious it is. This man just received an order, okay, for uniting, which all of this is all illusion. We are watching this political theater. They are playing people. Those people who don't realize what's going on, they think this is any different. It's not. Before we go and we study a little bit of his life's journey of that Rabbi Lazar, who now resides in Russia, how did he end up in Russia, who he was meeting with, let me first show you the same Chabad Lubavitch, once again, how it's connected with, for example, Zelensky. I've showed you this picture before. So this is the same Chabad Lubavitch present in Ukraine. From their official website, the article from May 7th, 2019, first Jewish president of Ukraine holds historic meeting with rabbis. Here we go. The delegation was led by Kamineski, who says the conversation touched the enormous size of Ukraine Jewish community, which is estimated at some 350 individuals, and its status today. This is the 6th largest Jewish population in the world, and he was interested in every detail, why people stay, why they leave, and we are all seeing in our what we are all seeing in our individual communities. Zelensky, a Jewish comedian and television personality turned politician, won more than 70% of the vote in Ukraine's April 21st run of election, outsiding sitting President Petro Poroshenko. So anyway, here is more pictures from this meeting. So as soon as Zelensky won the election, right, they showed up. Well, actually, it was all set up because what was his name? That billionaire that promoted Zelensky? Forgot his name. You know who? Kolomoisky, right? That was his name. Was his name Kolomoisky? Another believer. So this is the meeting. So they set up everything just to make sure the Heavenly Jerusalem project is going to be executed perfectly, and the Khazaria will return. So we have the meeting. I will attach the link down below in the description box. Now, the same Chabad Lubavitch, many of you know, is also very active, beyond active, in the United States. So here we have President Donald Trump honors the Rebbe. So this is the one that I showed you, the old one, the leader, the Messiah, Schneerson, okay? They're like a guru. And Trump proclaims April 9th Education and Sharing Day. So this picture was taken this year, April 9th, 2025, in the Oval Office at the White House. Here you see, not so tiny heads. And President Donald J. Trump today proclaimed the birthday of the Rebbe, Rabbi Menahem, if you say it this way, Schneerson, of righteous memory as Education and Sharing Day, USA, paying homage to the rabbi's life, legacy, and vision for humanity. And when we scroll down, we can see when Trump was visiting his grave, October 7th, 2024, so this is before the election. And right next to him, you know who is here, the secretary, I think, of Commerce, right? That's his position, Latnik. Some people say that he's like Trump's handler. I don't know, I'm not gonna say it. allegedly. You know who is here? Shapiro, isn't it? Ben Shapiro? I think so. Looks like. So anyway, so we had Zelensky, we had Trump, and from the same movement, on November 4th, this guy who represents Chabad Lubavitch in Russia was just awarded with the Order of Honor. So let's look just briefly at the leader first. The leader of this movement, Schneerson. Why it's important? Well, it is important because it sets the stage for the future events in history. So here you have some images. Not all of them are with Schneerson. This is Schneerson. This is the picture of him. Trump is standing next to him. Probably it was during this declaration for that holiday that he announced. But I want to show you more. So I wanted to see who Schneerson met with. And here it looks like he actually met with Robert Kennedy, not the current one, but the father. You see it? Bobby Kennedy. This is Rabbi Schneerson. This is not Schneerson, this is the one designated for Russia. Here is when he was young. Was it? No, this is different, sorry, different guy. But here, you're gonna see, this is the picture. This is the exact moment when he was talking to Netanyahu. This is Benjamin Netanyahu right here when he was young. This is Schneerson. And he was saying to Netanyahu that Messiah will come very soon, but you have to do much more and it's not enough. So kind of like what Lazar said in Moscow, like we have to do much more. What do you mean by that? Of course, unite, I'm sure. Or do you mean that project of heavenly Jerusalem? Here is the meeting with Ronald Reagan, everyone, not Schneerson, but other rabbis. So that's how the story goes. Why I'm showing this to you is because now I want to see who was that Russian, let's call him Russian rabbi, meeting with, and when he moved to Russia, how did that story unfolded? Because it's a very interesting thing. I'm like, how did this even happen? Well, we know the project is in the making. This entire conflict at this moment is executing the return of new great Israel, new Khazaria, kind of new old Khazaria, the same land, pretty much. So let's go to Wikipedia, and I know many of you will be saying don't, but let's go there, because there are a few things that I want to bring to your attention. So he was actually born in Italy, if you don't know. Shlomo Dov Pinchas, strange name, Lazar, born May 19, 1964, better known as Berel Lazar, is an Orthodox Chabad Lubavitch Hasidic rabbi. He began his service in Russia in 1990. Dates are very important here, guys, so just pay attention. Known for his friendship with Vladimir Putin since 2000. He has been a chief rabbi of Russia and chairman of the Federation of Jewish Communities of Russia and Federation of the Jewish Communities of CIS. In September 2005, Lazar became a member of the Public Chamber of Russia. This is important. Public Chamber of Russia. Because of his connections to Russian President Vladimir Putin, he is sometimes called Putin's rabbi. A native of Milan, Italy, so he was born in Italy, in Milan. The first thought that came to my mind when I read it was it like Jesuits, like for real, right? Because, come on. So kind of like Vatican, you know what I mean? Doesn't matter, it's not Rome, still. A native of Milan, Italy, Lazar was born in 1964 to parents who were among the first emissaries of Rabbi Menahem Mendel Schneerson. So his parents were like one of the first so-called believers, representatives of that rabbi, Schneerson, that everyone praises, right? And here, he moved, that's what I want to pay attention to. He moved in the 1990s to Russia. He received many awards, actually. He also received, let me show you here, the Order of Friendship, I think. Somewhere here, I've missed it. But anyway, allegedly, he spoke out against the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022, called Russia to withdraw and for an end to the war, and offered to mediate. You know what they say and what they do does not really matter. So now, let me show you a picture with him and someone who many of you are familiar with. Because he moved to Russia in 1990. This is an article. Former Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev dies. This is much older Gorbachev, and this is the same Rabbi Lazar, Russian rabbi. Here you see the image of Mikhail Gorbachev. You know where, from all the places, at the wall. Yes, everyone at the wall. So let's read this, and then we connect some dots as far as the dates go. Mikhail Gorbachev, the last leader of the infamous Soviet Union who took down the Iron Curtain, died at age of 91. The Federation of Jewish Communities said his policies led to the revival of Jewish life in Russia. Mikhail Gorbachev, okay, so they said this, as the General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, he was credited with introducing key political and economic reforms of the USSR and helping to end the Cold War, CNN said. CNN, we know, fake news, but here, when Gorbachev first came to power, long before the fall of the Soviet Union, the Rebbe, so this is the Russian rabbi, the one who just received an award from Putin, declared that this man would set Russian Jewry free, which is exactly what he did, according to the Russian-Israeli physics and Jewish educator Herman Branover. So we have this, everyone. So it looks like there is more about him. Russia's chief rabbi, Rabbi Lazar, so the main character of today's video, has met Gorbachev on several occasions and had cordial conversations with him. In one of them, Gorbachev said, "Russia is good for the Jews, and Jews are good for Russia." The former Soviet president made the remarks after Rabbi Lazar invited him to visit the Jewish Museum in Moscow, which offers visitors a virtual tour throughout Jewish history, with a special emphasis on the oppression of communism and the efforts by many to clandestinely, sorry if I mispronounce, keep Jewish life strong. So you can read it if you feel like. The link will be attached down below in the description box. And here, let's look at some dates, because it's all coming together. It's pretty clear to me the longer I look in it. So Gorbachev, let's see if I have it here. We're gonna do this. Well, let's look when Putin was first time elected as the president. So Vladimir Putin was first elected president of Russia in March 2000. So that Russian rabbi, Lazar, was already there because he moved there in the 90s, right? He moved there when Gorbachev was still in power. We're gonna look into Gorbachev in a second. So he was inaugurated on May 7th, 2000. And he became acting president on December 31st, 1999. So when when Gorbachev was in power. Let's look into it. So he was in power until 1991. And this is, let's see if this is correct. Yeah. So when that Russian rabbi moved to Russia, he moved. So this is all set up. Absolutely, is how I look at it. Gorbachev, the end of so-called Cold War. That's another scam. Okay, another scam that I am coming across. How they are lying to people, to terrify people, to be threatening people, to control them, and of course to do all those militarizations, spend money on weapons, sacrifice people, blood sacrifice. That's exactly what's going on. Okay, so we had a Cold War. Gorbachev is there, Rabbi moves there, now you designated for Russia. He stays there, not too active, but is there, right, doing things. And then Putin comes. And from Putin era, it's like blossoming, everything is booming. This is the best time for Russia in the history as far as Jewish, Chabad, Lubavitch, or whatever you want to say, maybe not Jewish, but satanic movement goes. Crazy things, huh? Absolutely crazy. So there is some controversy, of course, as always is, and official information about him, but we're going to go to the tunnels because the tunnels also belong to the same movement, the same unhealthy movement. So let's see. Here we go. A little bit about this guy. So what is the role and influence? As chief rabbi, his work involves providing spiritual and material support to the Jewish community in Russia, including helping with jobs, giving advice, and bringing people together. He's a member of the Public Chamber of Russia and has been awarded the Order of Honor by President Putin for his contribution to strengthening the unity of the Russian nation. So this is current, okay? This order from this year. Now, controversy. We know the relationship with Putin. I showed this many times. Controversy. While his position is widely recognized within his community, there is another chief rabbi of Russia. See, so he's not the only one. There is another rabbi of Russia, Adolf Shayevich, who is recognized by some other Russian Jewish organizations. This dual chief rabbinate has led to some division within the Russian Jewish community. So here is my question. So if there are two chief rabbis in Russia, but somehow this one is favored by Putin and he comes from this Chabad Lubavitch, what's going on? Maybe this chief rabbi of Russia is actually a legit one, Adolf Shayevich, right? Maybe he is the good one. What do you think, everyone? Personal background, so here it tells you that he was born in Italy, etc., and has 14 children. So this is the other rabbi. Well, not really that good. The cube is on the forehead, everyone. The cube is on the forehead, so that's not good. That's not good. So those two are the rabbis in Russia. Can you believe it? With this cube. Oh boy, looks kind of like Vatican Masonic plus Ashkenazi Zionist combo in this outfit. So now let's go to those tunnels. Let's look at the story one more time to those of you who like Putin is good, it's just about unity. But if there are, and I change my mind and I'm not changing my mind anymore, after I've seen what I've seen, you cannot unsee it. This is not about unity. If you are giving order of honor to someone who comes from this place, from this Chabad, and they have those tunnels with very nefarious things going on, children sacrifice, human trafficking, who knows, adrenochrome production maybe. So on one side, it's like we banning Satanism, but Rabbi Lazar is cool. Hypocrisy, isn't it? Let's look into this video. Let's go back to the tunnels. Important reminder, it's all connected.
A lot of different stories that are being talked about here. What do you know about these tunnels under the Chabad Lubavitch global headquarters?
Yeah, so there's a lot of information coming out about these tunnels, a lot of misinformation, actually, I should say. There's a lot of people online that are trying to water this situation down, a lot of like mainstream conservatives that are trying to like water this story down by saying that these tunnels were a way to expand their real estate, or these tunnels were a backup plan just in case there was another pandemic, or the tunnels were for the pandemic. That's why they were built. Well, we're finding out now, this is from the Daily Mail as well as a few other sources, that these tunnels were dug 6 months ago. So the tunnels were not for COVID. The tunnels were for something else. And if you look at some of the videos that are coming out about the tunnels, you see blood-stained mattresses, or what we think are blood-stained mattresses. The stains are brown, and typically when you have old blood stains, that's what they look like. You see like baby chairs, baby car seats, baby high chairs coming out of these tunnels. And the police showed up to fill these tunnels, and there was a riot that broke out. 12 people were arrested. They have yet to be identified. And there was one New York City cop that he's actually on video. He's saying, we don't do this in America. This Italian cop from New York City. He's like, we don't do this sort of thing in America. If only our institutions were stocked with people like that, we'd have a much different country. But it's very weird that, there's not a lot of information coming out that's like definitive. It reminds me of the situation that happened in Miami, where you had 150 cops show up to the mall, and then we heard nothing else about it except for them saying that it was because teens were blowing off fireworks in the mall.
Originally, we were having you on to talk about the 7 million plus illegal aliens that have been pouring over the border. But with this story coming out, I mean, there's obviously a lot of questions. One of the things that keeps coming up is in the Jewish Talmud, Sanhedrin 54b, quote, "A Jew may have sex with a child as long as the child is less than 9 years old." Is that really written?
That's in the Talmud. I mean, there's a lot of things in the Talmud. In the Talmud, they refer to Jesus Christ as an idolater. They say that Mary laid with a Roman soldier named Pantera, and he is the illegitimate son of a Roman soldier named Pantera. They say that Jesus is burning in hot excrement in hell for his sins. There's a lot of things in the Talmud. As far as like the pedophilia tie-in here, there's a lot of people that are posting articles. There was a Vice article, actually, and I'll just read the sub-headline here. Rabbi Nuchem Rosenberg, who is 63 with a long-grain beard, recently sat down with Vice News to explain what he described as a, quote, child rape assembly line among sects of fundamentalist Jews. There's also there's a lot of speculation about this, but if you go back to an article from 2009, there was some organ trafficking that was happening in New Jersey. Rabbis were arrested over a massive crime ring. Charges were extortion, bribery, money laundering, and mass human organ trafficking. And a bunch of rabbis were arrested for organ trafficking. So there's a lot of speculation with this. I mean, you see baby chairs, baby high chairs coming out, blood-stained mattresses. They dug these tunnels 6 months ago. There's some articles that are saying that it's to connect it to other properties. There are some people that are saying that another property on the street was actually like a boys and girls club. I haven't been able to confirm that yet, but it's a very, very strange situation. I haven't seen Fox News cover this yet.
Frankie Stocks with National File was on the program yesterday on something completely unrelated. I'm reading here that he says, quote, "The Jewish Chabad movement, which dug tunnels in New York City holding a tiny soiled mattress and a high chair, has long been linked to child sex abuse. Herschel Pekar, one of its most prominent members, admitted in 1991 to doing, quote, things that shouldn't be done to a 5-year-old girl. So these people are also connected very closely to Benjamin Netanyahu. They actually purported and claimed to be an anti-Zionist, organization, but now turns out that it's actually the opposite, and that these people are some of basically the leaders of the Zionist movement worldwide.
Well, this is the world headquarters. This is the Chabad headquarters in Crown Heights, New York, and listen. I mean, there are videos of Jews literally coming out of sewers in New York City, and this is not like newsworthy for the mainstream news. It's so strange how people don't really want to touch the story with a 10-foot pole. I mean, they're coming out of sewer layers that they dug and that the police are trying to fill, and like the Ninja Turtles. It looks like a scene out of the Ninja Turtles. And Fox News isn't covering this. People are trying to water the situation down. It's just so weird. It's just so strange. This whole story.
The mattress that we're seeing looks to be stained with blood. I don't know what happens during COVID. We now know that this wasn't COVID because these tunnels, as you pointed out, were built just 6 months ago. So this couldn't have been that. So what would be the motive for these people to start trying to water this down? And who are these people that are trying to make this seem like it's a nothing burger?
Well, I've seen many posts that are, from people that are coming from sort of like the mainstream conservative sphere that are trying to say that this is no big deal. They were just trying to expand their real estate, or just in case of COVID, or they needed a way to practice their religion. Well, why not practice your religion in the building that was built specifically to practice your religion above ground? Why build the tunnels? Why dig, a tunnel 6 months ago to connect to different places, a secret tunnel that you caused a riot over after they decided that they wanted to fill? And we can also, like, some of the same people are also trying to blame Christian organizations for the facilitation of mass immigration into the United States and refugee resettlement in the United States. Well, you look at the biggest organization on the planet with the biggest budget, which is highest, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, which a lot of these Christian nonprofits have like 1% of the size of the budget. And you don't see these people talking about them. So it's the same people that are trying to water down the situation with the tunnels are also trying to run cover for organizations like HIAS that are the most powerful refugee resettlement organizations on the planet.
Let's be honest, over 8 million children in America alone go missing every year. Many of them end up in tunnels like this. The Epstein tapes have not come out that the FBI has, and now we're seeing this. I mean, how likely is it that this is connected to child rape, child sex trafficking?
Well, it's very likely, especially when you look at articles like we just went over from Vice News, and you go back to groups like the Finders, right? The Finders group. If you look into the Finders, the FBI did this massive document dump on their official Twitter account. This was a few years ago. We actually covered this on my show. And if you look into the Finders group, there are pictures of this group performing satanic.
Anyone over the age of 40 can reverse type 2 with this recipe using apple cider vinegar. Grab a pen and
sexual rituals on children in places like this. There were tunnels that were built underground in Washington, D.C. that the FBI admits existed that connect certain places to preschools. There were tunnels built under preschools. McMartin Preschool, I think, is one of the preschools. So if you look into the Finders group and you look into the connections, some of the members actually had connections to the CIA. Some of them were CIA agents. This is according to the FBI document dump. And this is basically the foundation for what we know today as Pizzagate, which they did a really good job of destroying that narrative with, fake shooters and all sorts of crazy information to poison the well of information when it comes to Pizzagate, which was like an actual real thing. So tunnels, child rape, child trafficking, there's a long history of this. Again, Frank
So let that sink in. The rabbi who represents this movement has 11 days ago been awarded by Putin with the Order of Honor. So, guys, I think I have to bring more and more to your awareness so you can question things, because it's absolutely all connected. No mistakes here at all. What is the plan? The great new Israel and the making. The links will be attached down below in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. If you appreciate the content I provide, you're welcome to hit thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave the comments down below and let me know. And of course, if you choose to support my work, the best way is to become my Patreon member, Locals member, local supporter, or donate on PayPal. And if you have Instagram, follow me there as well, AniaK_44. With this being said, guys, lots of love, and remember, we are the leading edge, and we are saving not just children here talking about it, but humanity. I see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.